Welcome to another episode of Amy Learns to Cook. I'm Eric, and on today's show, we're going to prepare and cook a turkey on the Weber kettle grill. Cooking on the Weber kettle grill is great because the bird comes out juicy, tender, flavorful, all the good stuff, and it frees up the oven on a busy day such as Thanksgiving. So let's get cooking on the kettle grill. So the first thing we did was we actually put the bird up on a V-rack and we tucked the wings under. We're not going to truss it because I don't really have any strength right now to do that. We're going to do a few things to this for preparing it. We're going to put some of this rub that I just made by using some of this Weber stuff along with some sage, thyme, allspice, some caraway seeds. It smells pretty, and then I just mix it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. This part I recommend be very careful if you are going to put some stuff under the skin, so that way you don't rip it, because if you rip the skin, and I'm sure Amy has some footage that went wrong on another bird, the skin will recede. So be very careful with not ripping it. And if it does have any cuts, you can use toothpicks and kind of fold the skin under. This one looks like the skin's loose enough for me, so I'm not going to have that problem. So we just put it underneath the skin for the breast. We just did the back of the breast. Now we're going to do the front of it. So for this next step, I'm going to go ahead and I took some onions that I just halved. So it's got one onion halved, kind of fell apart a little bit. One apple that I quartered. And we're not going to pack it too tightly. I want a bunch of airflow in here, so I'm probably going to go with just half an apple in there. I have an orange that I also quartered, so we'll probably just put couple pieces in there as well. And then I have a cinnamon stick I'm going to go ahead and put in there. And lastly, I've got a couple of sprigs of rosemary that I'm going to put in there. And put that in there so that part's done. And I lied earlier. I don't feel comfortable with the skin, so I am going to toothpick it to help hold it in place. So, let's see if I can rotate this around. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull it, flap it underneath, and we're going to go into the skin. Just hold it there. The last thing we're going to do is just brush a little bit of oil. And I'm just going to do a light coat. This will help with the keeping it moist a little bit, and also it'll help it brown really nicely. And now this bird is ready for the cooker. So in this case, we're getting ready to put the turkey on the grill. We're going to be cooking indirectly, so we've put a half pan, or you can use a pie pan, directly where the turkey is going to be. And we took half of a chimney on one side, and the other half the chimney charcoal on the other side. And then we have the grate set up so the flaps are on the side. So periodically we can add a couple of briquettes as needed to keep it going. If you're using gas grill, you would just turn the burner off that's underneath the turkey, put your pan down there to collect the drippings, and turn the burners to the side on. So that way you have indirect, you have no flare-ups, and it'll help with the cooking. In this case, we're going to take the V-rack off of this turkey because our lid just isn't quite high enough for this. We did put a probe for the temperature for the thickest part of the turkey breast. So that's what we're going to use to monitor this bird with. Should only take maybe a couple hours, 2.5 at the most. I'm just going to go ahead and put the lid on. And about every half hour, we'll check on it. We'll rub a little bit more oil on the skin to help it stay moist. And we'll also add charcoal as needed. So right now we're about the 90-minute point. The breast is up to 155, so it doesn't have that long left to go. I'm just going to add a little bit more charcoal to this. Today's a little windy side. What you can do is use a lump charcoal instead, and that'll produce less ash and less chance of that getting into your gravy or getting on your bird. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of this. Every half hour I've just been basting it with a little bit of oil. Just been going light on it, not too heavy, trying to be careful not to drip it and get flare-ups. That should do it. So the turkey's been in here now for an even 2 hours. We measured the thickest part of one of the breasts as 167. One of the other breast was a few degrees warmer. So we took an average and we seem to like where it's at. Just be careful when you are probing to check frequently, because you may have a disparity between readings, and also whether how close to a bone you are when you're probing or not. So we're going to go and take this off, and then we're going to tent it for about 10 minutes. So and then we're just going to put some foil on it. That way the juices can relax. So now that the turkey has been foiled and tented, and then we let that set for about 15 minutes so it can kind of relax and let the juices redistribute and do all the good stuff they do, we're ready to have a taste on this. So I wanted to make sure that I had a knife sharp enough for this, and Amy didn't disappoint me. So we're just going to have a little sample here. Nobody's peeking, right? Oop. That didn't go so well, did it? Try that again. There we go. Amy says I gotta eat on the plate so I don't look like a barbarian. Well, that's a plate, so I'll eat it right from there. So this little piece I just tried out was good because it obviously was moist, tender, and all that great stuff. But I noticed that it tasted way more savory. The last turkey I did, which was just, similar, I brined it and everything. In fact, the brine was even more fancy. But I used just a regular barbecue rub and a little bit of butter under the skin. And I didn't really taste that much in that turkey, other than maybe it was a little salty. This one here, I'm not picking up much salt, but I'm picking up a lot more of the savory, such as the rosemary, the sage, the thyme, the stuff that I put in that little wet rub that I made, that I rubbed under the skin. So I thought that did a really good job. I'm going to go ahead and cut another piece. Oops. Yeah, this thing has a lot of flavor, so I definitely would recommend this turkey. It's way tender. The juices are amazing, and if you just cut this whole breast off, I'm cutting through a bone. Still on the hot side. Oops. And this thing is not dry at all. So I really don't know what to say here. I mean, I could rip it apart in front of you, but I think I'd rather let you cook your own and experience this. So this turkey was juicy, flavorful. It's great. It will not disappoint anybody who cooks it. If you want the skin a little darker, you might want to try something that's sugar based, but apply that towards the end. That way it doesn't burn too early into the cook. But other than that, this is it's wow. That's all I can say. If you like this video, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, we thank you. And go ahead and leave comments. Tell us what you'd like to see us make, or just what you think about the videos in general. Also, we're on Twitter at twitter.com/AmyLearnsToCook. And also hit our website, www.amylearnstocook.com.